got a big week this week going on Bay Area, first time on the road, kind of in the weird year that we have had, and coming off with obviously a tough loss, one that we had opportunities to win, but hopefully some things to grow on moving forward. So looking forward to getting down to the Bay.
We'll open the floor. Jamie Vinnick with the first question.
Hey, Coach. Do you have an update on the health of the guys that were out on Saturday?
Who was out? Vova's back. That's one certainty. So you can put that in, and then still not. Don't know anything else on the others.
How much for this game, especially where Cal's Biggs, Thiemann, and Kelly are much more post scores and stretches? How important is it to have Vova in that kind of role where he can just clog the paint and wall up?
He's vital to our success. I think that's obviously the one piece. That's why I was a little emotional. That last game is that they had so many big bodies, and we definitely needed Vova to do what he does. And he's been a big part, helped us win a lot of games this year, and a big part of why we've been good defensively.
And then Cal, last year when you guys played Cal, they won both games, and they kind of did it in different ways. The first game was a lot of Matt Bradley and a lot of their guards kind of, getting the first step off the dribble and getting to the basket. The second game was more Andre Kelly kind of bullying inside. How do you prepare for, to kind of attack them in two different ways? And then also when you add in the uncertainty of, two of their top guys being in and out of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's had, like last year, the second time we played them at our place, we didn't have Isaac, but they really pushed us around and outkeep. And I think probably the best thing they do is they compete really at a high level, both ends of the floor, and they make you, like I said, they have a lot of different ways to play. They can be 3 out, 2 in. They can go 4 out, 1 in, and that's what they did last year. They found a little weak spot down there. We played well, and then they went to their 2 point guards and played quick and got us there. And then they just came up here and just pushed us around. So obviously, I don't know what the status is on Bradley, but he's obviously a big part of what they do. But Coach Fox, a good coach, and going back to when I was assistant at St. Mary's playing in Nevada, they're well coached, well schooled, and it's beating a system. If you beat them, you're gonna have to beat what they do, and that's a challenge.
And then lastly, approximately how many free throws have been shot at practice this week?
Poor Coach Shaw. He's been just obsessed on it. I don't know. Let's see how many is there's hour limits we can work, Jamie. So it's there's an hour worth of free throw shooting and pressure putting on them. So hopefully it doesn't snowball into a big deal. We were able to nip it in the bud last year and really kind of got pretty good at it. So hopefully we can do the same.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Ryan Root, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Aside from free throws this week, what's been some other aspects of the game that this team's been trying to iron out for Thursday and even Saturday's game?
This year it's all about getting healthy, and we're still right now is just staying with what we do, make sure we're fundamentally stay locked into. We had a really good mindset going that Saturday night game, and see if we can do that on the road. And it always starts with our defense, making sure we don't rebounding. And we took care of the ball for 50 minutes. We played 50 minutes, we had 14 turnovers. I thought that was a head in the right direction there. So just really sticking to our fundamentals. I think that's going to be the year. It's just finish the race. Trying to finish the race is you just don't know who you're going to have week to week, and you can't work on too many different things.
This team playing their first road game this late in the season, do you think this sort of bodes well for the team with all the momentum facing you or following you guys these past 9 games?
I don't know. I know it's always there's a little shock to your system when you play in another gym. I know last year we went down to Santa Clara after we really played well against Seattle U, and we were still new, and they kicked us around pretty good. So I'm going to talk to them today specifically, just trying to get the right mindset on the road. I think we went down, we beat UW. That was a good win. Then we went down, played Arizona, and got clubbed last year. But then we were able to rally and played pretty well against Arizona State, had a chance to win on the road. So 2 of our last 3 road games last year, we played well on neutral, but so I felt like maybe we got better there, but we'll see. I hope we do well.
Following a solid performance from Desean in the starting lineup this last Saturday, is he bound to receive maybe some more minutes this upcoming game or the near future? Or how has his playing time been affected for the future games?
I think he'll start. It depends. I'll see where Vova's at. Vova haven't really got to move around, and he missed some time there. But I just think being a young big, it's not just he's got to iron out the fouling, which comes with experience. I think FA's done it. Last game I think FA got put in a bad spot because they played 4 and 5. So he can iron that out so he can stay on the floor and get better game conditioning. But I'm really excited with his approach, to the game. He competed well in the line, was put in a position as a freshman that you probably, as a coach, you're like, you don't know how it's going to go, but it was nice to see. And he responded very well. And I think he's definitely a starter talent, whether it's this year or down the road or whatever. I just think he's got some good years ahead of him.
And lastly, for you, Coach, you briefly touched up on it a little bit. The foul trouble that this team has kind of had to go through some of these games. I know you guys played in 2 overtimes last weekend, but has there been any sort of way that this team sort of addressed that issue during practice, or is it really just down to playing experience, like you're just saying?
Foul trouble or foul shooting. We've had issues with both. You said foul trouble. The foul trouble would be just need our depth inside. I think this league, so many teams, Arizona's probably the main one that'll run 4 posts at you all the time and just keep attacking. So that was that. And then the foul shooting, we've addressed it. We got to work on it. And I think it's going to come down to, it's hard to simulate game pressure. And it might have gone a long ways if we made some, but it exposed a weakness. And, we got to get better. You're up there all alone. We know it was a big opportunity for us to score a big win, and we bottom line, we didn't get it done. So it's there, and we're going to hopefully be in those situations again, and we got to step up and do it. As a coach, usually losses hurt bad, but I don't feel as much to blame. We got the free throw opportunities. Like, we got to make them. And you guys got to step up and do it. So hopefully we can.
Jeff Ferrato, go ahead.
Kyle, how you doing?
Great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm okay. For those of us who are not real familiar with FA, tell us kind of what he's about, what his strengths are, and what his ceiling might be.
Well, he's an angel of a human being, probably his best attribute. He really is an unbelievable team guy. He's a total, what we call a feeler. I mean, he really responds from the team. Obviously a really good athlete, and he's had a pretty traveled experience to get here. It's a pretty unique story. He from Nigeria, but played in the NBA Academy in Senegal. Then got, I guess, kind of pulled up to the main NBA Academy team, played in Australia. And then he'd been hurt for almost 2 years with a serious knee injury. And we recruited him, just kind of, we got the job. This guy was a really valued 15, 16-year-old. The craziest thing is that his uncle lives in Pullman. There's a guy that's from Nigeria. And there's only 30,000 people that live up here, and 20,000 are students. So to have his uncle here is pretty amazing. We treat him like a local recruit. And there's I'm sure some people shied away because he'd been hurt. And then it's kind of a unique story, and we're really happy to have him. And I think obviously you can see he has some elite talents as far as his shot blocking ability, his quickness. And it's hard for me to put a ceiling on anyone, because I just think when you're that age, like I always say, how many people thought Steve Nash was going to be an NBA player? And my answer is always one, was Steve Nash. That's it. So I share that story all the time. Like and parents are like, you're 17-year-old, like what you can be. But obviously he has some really good physical gifts. He's got to be, with injuries he's got to be careful on that. And I think he's obviously, like most freshmen do, he needs to get stronger and take the pounding and see how we do going through the Pac-12 season. But we're tickled to have him.
Has he been better earlier than you could have anticipated?
Yes. Going in the season, how we're changed some things structurally, what we're doing, because he's really kind of popped out. And as we were just talking about in the office, like his first 3 weeks of practice were, like, okay, he's a normal freshman, doggone it, whatever. Well, he's gonna be fine. And then he just, closer I got to the season, he just started gaining confidence. And there was almost we had our first inter squad scrimmage, and he just kind of popped out and is like, okay, let's go. And he just hadn't looked back. And he had a couple tough games in there in early non-conference, and but hopefully he just keeps going in a straight line. He's got a good, he's got a great motor. I think anyone that watches play can understand how hard he plays and how much he cares. So, and for you, Jeff, he's reminds me of a guy I coached at St. Mary's, Diamond Simpson. But he's got a little bouncier Diamond. And Diamond's like my favorite guy of all time. So don't tell. And Diamond would have been a nice player here too.
On a different subject, Kyle, your neighbor down in Spokane, from afar, what's your impression of this Gonzaga team? And you've seen a number of them, played against a number of them at a couple of places. How does Mark's team compare with some of the other ones he's had?
Offensively, I think the best he's ever had. I think he would say that too. They're unstoppable. From the games I've seen, just kind of remarkable how they're just steamrolling people. I think he's got 7 guys he really likes to play a lot, and that's kind of how he's been going the last few years. And they're not as physical as they've been on the inside. They're usually have to deal with 4 of those guys, and going back to the Sacre, Elias Harris, Olenek redshirted. Good God. Sam Dower. They had Ryan Spangler was their 5th post. He started on a Final Four team in Oklahoma. So Timmy is a unique one. They've kind of modernized their team in the sense like play like those NBA teams, 5 out a lot. So he's nothing but respect. He's a winningest coach current, right? And he's evolved their team and just keeps getting better and better. So I stopped trying to find when they're gonna have their down year, and just really impressive to watch.
Thank you.
Theo Lawson, go ahead.
What exactly does Coach Shaw's free throw rehab look like? Can you share any details or specifics on that?
You know what? It's something like you got to make 25 without missing two in a row. I'll get it right. I think you have to make 5 in a row, and then maybe 9 out of 10, and then there's another advanced. It takes some time, but he's willing to hold them accountable. There's no time limit on it, so they can be in there. they can be in there on their own, making sure they get it done. But we had, like I said, I think he really helped CJ last year. I mean, he was LB was not a good foul shooter as a freshman, and start off the year slowly. And one of Coach Shaw's gifts is he really connects with people, and he's really in your corner, and he's got time for everyone. And it's hard as a head coach to put that much time into one guy. And he sat CJ down and said, what's going on here? And CJ kind of, which makes him good, he kind of his self-analysis is like, I'm a little not confident at the foul line. So it was like, and it's affected his game. He wasn't going to the basket as much. And we said, hey, you got to for us to score, you got to do that. And he started making free throws. And I think the thing built some confidence in him. He did that. And the same with Noah. Noah was shooting terrible to be in the year. And then by the end of the year, he was in the 70%. And then, he's had his little hiccups this year, and he'll be back in there. He's back in. He said this quote, I don't know, this might be appropriate, but he said last year it was like an alcohol marijuana addiction. He said now we're in heroin territory, so we really have to get in there and go cold turkey. So he's pretty scrambled up about it, but I feel confident. The guy's a miracle worker. He does a great job with them, and we'll get there.
Is it usually like an individual thing, or more of when you guys are struggling as a team that Coach Shaw kind of puts them through that
Oh,
process?
it's an individual. He
Yeah.
he gets them in there and makes them put on time and get in there with a manager that and it's optional, of course, but they'll get them in there, and the manager just goes in there and like, all right, that's what you got to do, and we got to have some tough managers. Don't let them off the hook. And but our guys are good that way. They we preach having growth mindset and good work ethic, and they'll build that confidence.
It's pretty unique to have not one but two players whose parents played at Cal with Desean and Noah. And do you kind of hope they can kind of channel some of that excitement and pride into playing Cal on Thursday?
Who played at Cal? Oh no, mom, Desean's mom.
And Noah's dad.
No, he played at USF.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that got me confused. I was like, wait, I better know that. No, obviously.
CJ's dad.
Oh no, CJ's dad. You're right.
Oh,
Ellison's
sorry.
dad.
Sorry, never mind.
That's right,
I
Bill.
confused. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
Bill was wearing red, crimson, and gray last I saw him. But yeah, Bill, I forgot. You're right, Bill. I was like, oh, hold on, I didn't know something. But yeah,
well, 2 years in a row still. Yeah.
But no, I think Noah has a lot of roots in the Bay Area. His grandparents are still there, and I think he's got a lot of cousins and stuff. And Desean, I'm happy, pleased that Desean, he's really, Arizona recruited him when he was young, kind of moved away from it. And I knew what that, usually those go one way or the other. Like, you're going to play well, be motivated. You're going to be motivated, but sometimes guys get a little too anxious, and, maybe that's why Desean picked a foul, but his response was good. And obviously being in Cal's backyard, and it's not like they didn't know about him, and mom played there. So he'll be motivated again, but he's a freshman on the road, first time. We'll take it step by step, and you just remind me, I'm going to really make sure he's locked into us. But like I said, I think he's going to be a good player for us, and you can almost make that story every night. There's someone.
Yeah,
there's good players on every court.
What do you expect it to be like on the road this year compared to others with maybe a few more quarantine rules and not able to do as much and really have to kind of stick in your hotel room once you get there?
Yeah, it's going to be weird because you can't, like at hotels, you can't rent out meeting rooms because you got to keep there, just not whatever, probably city ordinances, and meals are going to be weird. They're going to be grab a bag and go to your room and eat, and then stand, like I said, if you have family and stuff, and discourage them coming by if they do meet in the lobby, and do your social distancing and be vigilant about it. And the only benefit, there won't be fans, but it's still going to be. I think there's still I know in the NFL, the home field advantage was still significant. It's not that big a difference. So I think sleeping in your own bed, having your own routines at home is a fact. Playing on your own court, I think those things matter. I think you'd obviously like to have a crowd, but I think and we haven't done it yet. I wish we'd been able to go to Colorado and just get that one out of the way. And the weird, simple things like travel attire. I had to go over. I haven't been on the road much. As let's get these guys, make sure we're on time. All those things that you'd like to get. You don't want to be starting your first road trip in January.
Have you ever coached at the G League facility in Santa Cruz that you guys are going to be playing at on Saturday? Is that going to be kind of strange?
I have not. Only thing I saw Stanford, Arizona play there. It looked fine, whatever. We did, when there were fires in San Francisco, we did play at Cal State Monterey Bay. It was not too far away, and that was, we've done other such things. So it's really nice the Warriors are helping out those Bay Area teams, get them court. And hats off to Stanford. I think they're down in LA bouncing around playing. I think they're away from home, and I'm sure those kids are diligent about their online studies. So hopefully be a good game. Just getting games in. I think they're about the right thing, just trying to finish the race and get the most out of this year.
Thank you. Safe travels.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Jeff, back to you.
Yeah, Kyle, I'm going to call upon your background at St. Mary's again. St. Mary's a week from now has home games against BYU and Gonzaga. Can you imagine what the atmosphere would be like for those games for them under normal circumstances, and how much will it hurt them, of all teams, not to have that crowd that provides such a boost for them?
I think it's significant because when we had those games, there's early on in the tenure, I offered to buy the entire upper bowl to make sure we sold them to St. Mary's fans because we weren't good yet, and they're selling to Gonzaga fans. But once we got that ironed out there, you really can't hear your coaches when it's a two-wall gym. It's loud, everything's bouncing on the fan, and it's kind of neat to remind me. And Gonzaga's that way to an extent, the McCarthy Center, but it was more like the kennel. When it's filled up, it's like the kennel was. And it's unnerving. It's unnerving as a coach because really your players are just out there playing and making their decisions. But there's definitely an electricity and energy. And I remember games like where Patty Mills against Oregon in there, and just some guys. When you have those kind of opportunities, guys can go big. He had 37 against Oregon, and we had Patty Mills versus Steph Curry in there, and it was great. And a lot of the Gonzaga, we had several wins over Gonzaga, and it was a really tough building for them to play in. So I think it's a factor.
I mean, it's a real tangible thing, right?
Yeah, I do. I believe in it. I believe in the emotions of it. As much as everyone says I'm analytics, cold, I'm definitely an emotional guy, and there is an excitement. It's like it's it's nice, and there's interest there, and get a chance to shine in front of others. And some guys respond really well to that, and others kind of cower. And I think it's kind of your guys with courage and confidence will rise to the occasion.
And not that Gonzaga needs any help, but how great is it for them to be able to go to, say, BYU and St. Mary's and not have to deal with fans?
Yeah, no question. They're who knows? I mean, they've been rolling through that league for a while, and maybe it'll throw them off a little. I don't know. They've been pretty tough, but I know we had I call the best 36 minutes I ever coached because we talk about the team. It's hard for me to say they're better than the team that had Clark and Hachimura and Perkins and Norvell, and that was just the other year. And the other one with what's his name, sure, the big fella from Poland and Nigel, those guys. So those teams are great, but just I mean, we were at them down 2 at the final media, and then they punched us in the face with like a 15-2 run to finish out the game. But I was like, and that was our whole deal. Like we're up, we want to put ourselves in position. That team was with Hachimura and Clark, and we had a chance to win. And that was because we had the building filled, and that in San Francisco had some success against them. I remember when Sabonis was there watching back in New York, and they had them down 19, and Gonzaga came back and won the buzz, and San Francisco would be in there too. So I missed that. That was a unique part of that league, is playing in some of those venues when they're filled up. Pretty cool deal.